Good evening. My name is Jessica Goodrow, and I am an incoming freshman at the University of Pennsylvania. And today I will be going over SAT Practice Test 6, Section 3 of the Math section. And I hope you find great value in this webinar. Let's begin. So now let's go to the first problem. Salim wants to purchase tickets from a vendor to watch a tennis match. The vendor charges a one-time service fee for processing the purchase of the tickets. The equation T is equal to 15n plus 12 represents the total amount T in dollars. Salim will pay for n tickets. What does 12 represent in the equation? So to solve this problem, you have to first identify that it's in y is equal to mx plus b form. T is equal to 15n plus 12 can be compared to y is equal to mx plus b, where x is the tickets and $15 is per ticket, is the value per ticket, and 12 is the y-intercept, meaning it's the initial value or the starting value. So from the choices, A says the price of one ticket in dollars. That can't be right because $15 is per ticket, so A is out. The amount of service fee in dollars, which can also be the initial, is a possible answer. The total amount in dollars Salim will pay for one ticket, that's incorrect. And total amount in dollars Salim will pay for any number of tickets, that's also incorrect. Is not none of the A, C, and D are not initial values, so we have to go with choice B because that starts off as the initial value because it's the service fee. That's where you start off, and then they take into account the number of tickets you buy. So one is B. Question 2. A gardener buys 2 kinds of fertilizer. Fertilizer A contains 60% filler materials by weight, and fertilizer B contains 40% filler materials by weight. Together, the fertilizers bought by the gardener contain a total of 240 pounds of filler materials. Which equation models this relationship? Where X is the number of pounds of fertilizer A and Y is the number of pounds of fertilizer B. So to solve this problem, we have to first realize that it's in percentage form. So we have to convert those percentages into decimals. So 60% can be 0.60, and 40% can be 0.40. And now we have to see what is X and what is Y. X is the number of pounds of fertilizer A, which is 60%, so that can be equal to X, and then this has to equal to Y. And now they also told us that the combined weight, the total number of it weighs 240 pounds of filler material, so we have to do 0.60 X plus 0.40 Y is equal to 240, which was stated in the question. So now we have to see which matches. C and D are out because they're not in percentage form, so those are eliminated. Now, the difference between A and B is how they match the variables with the percentage that they gave. 60 in choice A, they said that fertilizer A was 0.4, which was 0.4 or 40%, which is not true because that's fertilizer B, so that A can be eliminated. So we know that our answer is choice B because it not only matches the correct variables with the percentages, but it also sets equals to 240, and it also converts it into decimal form. So that's why question 2 is B as well. Question 3. What is the sum of complex numbers 2 plus 3i and 4 plus 8i? So the first thing to know is that I are our imaginary numbers. Imaginary numbers. Okay, so the way I do this problem is by first putting parentheses around the expressions, and now adding them as we would do with variables. So we would do 2 plus 4, which is 6, and then we would do 3i plus 8i, which is 11i, and then we have to see which one it is, and it's choice C. That is just basically combining like terms. You combine the i's together and you combine the regular numbers together. So 3 is choice C. In the equation above, P and T are constants. Which of the following could be the value of P? To solve this problem, we would have to first identify that 4x squared minus 9 is dots, which is difference of 2 squares. Difference of 2 squares can be simplified as 2x plus 3, because you take the square root of both coefficients, or both numbers, and then multiply by 2x minus 3. Because the general formula of doing a dots problem or difference of two squares problem is x plus, or we can do a plus b and then a minus b, where this could be x and then this could be the number. So the square root of 4 is 2, and then the square root of x squared is just x, and then 9 is the square root of 9 is just 3. So we just plug in the values of the numbers, and you get 2x plus 3 and then 2x minus 3, which conveniently is the form that they want us to get in and see what the value of p and t are. So they said p and t are constants, which are 2 and 3. They're asking for the value of p, so our answer is 2, choice A. So for question 4 is choice A, 2, because we factored out, because we identified that it was a dots problem or a difference of two squares, and then we just identified what p was, which is what they were looking for. Question 5. Which of the following is the graph of the equation y is equal to 2x minus 5 in the xy plane? So this is a straight line because it's in y is equal to mx plus b form. The two things that I look for to see if it's the right graph is the slope, if it's positive or negative, and if it's the y-intercept. If it's since this is a positive slope has to go in the upward direction. Negative slope has to go in the downward direction. So since this is a positive slope, we know b is out because this is a negative slope, so that can't work. And now the y-intercept, which is -5, we have to see where it's -5 as a y-intercept. This is at 1, 2, 3, so around 2.5, which is not it. This is at +5, but not -5. So C is also out, so we're left with choice D. We can confirm it because it's positive slope, and it has the y-intercept of -5. So this is why question 5 is choice D. Okay, question 6. If x is equal to 2/3 y and y is equal to 18, what is the value of 2x minus 3? Okay, so the first thing I would do is to see what the value of x is, because then we can use that value and put it into the 2x minus 3. So they gave us x is equal to 2/3y, and then they told us y is equal to 18. So we could do x is equal to 2/3 times 18. We can simplify, we get 2 times 6 is 12. So we know x is 12. Now we have to plug it into this equation. So 2 times 12 minus 3 is equal to the answer. So we do 2 times 12, which is 24, minus 3 is equal to 21, which is our answer. It is choice A, 21. So that was a very straightforward question. You just find what the value of x is and then plug it into 2x minus 3. Question 7. A bricklayer used the formula n is equal to 7LH to estimate the number of bricks n needed to build a wall that is L feet long and H feet high. Which of the following correctly expresses L in terms of n and H? So they give us the formula 7LH, and they told us to manipulate it to get it in terms of L. To set it equal to L in terms of n and H. So the first thing to do is to see L, to know where L is. L is right here. So we would just divide by 7H on both sides. You get L is equal to n over 7H, which is choice C. So that was another simple, straightforward question. They just told us to manipulate the equation, which is just dividing the 7H on both sides to get rid of the 7H's on the right-hand side and get L by itself. 7 is choice C. Okay, now question 8. The table above shows some values of the functions w and t, for which value of x is w of x plus t of x is equal to x. So the best way to solve this problem would be to try each answer choice because it has to be one of those answer choices. So basically, we have to use the x value, and then you have to use the w of the x value and the w of the t of that x value, and see if it is equal to the original x value. So let's try 1. So w of 1 is -1, because it's right here, and t of x is -3, so plus -3. Is that equal to -4, which is not equal to the original 1. So this can't be our answer. Now let's do 2. W of 2 is 3 right here, and t of 2 is also -1. 3 plus -1 is 2, which is equal to 2. Now, so we know this is a possible answer. Now let's try 3. W of 3, which is 4, plus t of 3, which is 1. So 4 plus 1 is 5, which is not equal to the original 3 answer choice. So this is not an answer, possible answer. Now let's try 4. W of 4 is 3, and now t of 4 is 3 again. So 3 plus 3 is 6, which is not equal to the original 4. So we know our answer is B, because that is the only one that satisfies the equation that they gave in the question. So for this type of question, sometimes you just have to plug in each answer choice and see which one works to make sure that's the right answer. Question 9. If radical x plus radical 9 is equal to radical 64, what is the value of x? So the first thing I would do is simplify what I can. So you get radical x plus radical 9 is just 3, is equal to radical 64 is just 8. So I can subtract the 3 on both sides to get radical x is equal to 5, and just square it on both sides to get rid of the radical. So you get x by itself is equal to 5 squared, which is just 25. And so that is our answer, choice C. We can double check to make sure it's correct. We can do radical 25 plus radical 9 is equal to radical 64. Radical 25 is 5, radical 9 is 3, and radical 64 is 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 is equal to 8, which is correct. So we know question 9 is choice C, 25. Next question. Question 10. Jamie is preparing a bicycle race. His goal is to bicycle an average, keyword average, of at least 280 miles per week for 4 weeks. He bicycled 240 miles for the first week, 310 miles the second week, 320 miles the third week. Which inequality can be used to represent the number of miles X Jamie could bicycle on the 4th week to meet his goal? So to solve this problem, we have to first identify or know the average formula, which is the sum of numbers over, no, not number of numbers. Oops. Sum of numbers over total, or number of quantities, I should say, number of quantities is equal to the average. Okay, so it says, in the question it says, bicycle 240 first week. Oops. 240 the first week, 310 the second week, and sorry about that. So it was 240 the first week, 310 the second week, 320 for this third week, and then we don't know the 4th week because that's what it's asking for. How many the inequality to show the 4th week? So we can label that 4th week as X. 4th week equals X. And then how many quantities are there? 4. And it has to be at least. At least means greater than or equal to, because that's the bare minimum that you need. So there would be at least 280. So since this is not an answer choice, we have to see what is the next possible answer choice. So we can multiply everything by 4. We can get 240 plus 310 plus 320 plus x is greater than or equal to 4 times 280, which is a possible answer choice, choice D. We know C isn't our answer because then you're just dividing everything by three other quantities by 4, but not the fourth one. And that does not make sense because you have to divide everything by 4. And then for B, B doesn't make sense because x is not on the bottom. So if you multiply by x, x has to be on the bottom, so you can get rid of the x. So this doesn't work either. And for choice A, it doesn't account. It only divides the first 2 quantities by 3 and does not divide the fourth one. And so that doesn't make sense either because you have to take the average of all 4 weeks. So choice D is our answer for question 10. Next question. The vertex of parabola in the xy plane above is 0, c. Which of the following is true about the parabola with the equation y is equal to negative a parentheses x minus b squared plus c? So first thing to remember is that if it's a negative a, we know it's upside down. And if it's a positive a, we know it's the normal U-shaped. So we know if it's negative a, then you know it opens downwards. So we know it can't be a and it can't be c. So now the next thing you need to know about the vertex is the b is always the opposite sign. So if it's negative b, it's always going to be positive, and you just keep the sign of the outside. So it'd be b comma c as the vertex. So let's say if it was b x plus c, then it would be negative b c. But since that's not the case, that's a different question. Okay, yeah. So if it's negative b, and then you just take the sign. If it was negative b on the inside, then you know it's positive b for the vertex, for the x coordinate of the vertex, and then you take the sign of the c. So if it's positive c, it's just positive c on for the y coordinate. So it opens downwards, and now the difference is the vertex. The vertex is negative b c here, negative b c here, and so that's wrong. So our answer is choice B for question 11. So just remember the sign of the A matters because if it's a positive A, it opens this way, and if it's a negative A, it opens downwards. Oh yeah, positive A is basically moving or opening upwards. Question 12. Yeah, question 12. Which of the following is equivalent to 4x squared plus 6x over 4x plus 2? So to solve this problem, we would use synthetic division, which basically is using when 4x plus 2 or 4x squared plus 6x divided by 4x plus 2. So what number would we use to get, or what would we use to get 4x squared? We would multiply by x, because then it would be 4x squared, because you have to distribute, plus 2x. And then just subtract, negate everything, so it'd be that, and be 4x squared minus 4x squared, which is 0, and then 6x minus 2x, 4x. Now, what number would we use to get 4x? We would use plus 1. So now 4x, let's read that again, should be 4x times 1, which is just 4x. And then 2 times 1 is just 2. And then negate everything, you get 4x minus 4x, which is 0. And then you get negative 2 as the remainder. So now we know it is x plus 1. And then you keep the sign of the remainder, which is negative 2. And then you put it over the 4x plus 2. So, and let's see if it matches to one of the choices, and yes, it does. Choice D. So it matches. So that's the way to do this problem. Just use synthetic division. Question 12 is D. Yep. Question 13. In the equation above, t is a constant. if the equation has no real solutions, which of the following could be the value of t? So I know there's a trick to solve this type of problem. We have to use something called the discriminant, where the formula is b squared minus 4ac, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Let me just put it into the quadratic formula or form. Equal to t, subtract the t's on both sides. You get 2x squared minus 4x minus t is equal to 0. Now, so we can label this as a, and this is b, and this is c. So if we can bring this back, bring the discriminant topic again, we get b squared minus 4ac, right? If the discriminant value of the discriminant is greater than 0, then it's 2 real solutions. If it's equal to 0, then it's 1 real solution. If it's less than 0, then it's no real solution. So since it's asking if the equation has no real solutions, we have to know that the value of the discriminant must be less than 0. So we can plug in the values that we have. So we know b, which is negative 4 squared minus 4 times negative a. Which is 4, yeah, 4, and then we don't know value of x is less than 0. Okay, so negative 4 squared is 16, and then negative 4 times 2 times x is negative 8x is less than 0. And then we add 8 on both sides. No, what am I doing wrong? So it would be negative, it would be a negative x. It'd be a negative x, we would make it positive because it's a negative c right here. Okay, yeah, so it's a negative c, so it's a negative x. So it becomes negative 16, negative 16. You get 8x is less than negative 16 divided by 8. X has to be less than negative 2. And so the only option from the choices right here that is less than negative 2 is a negative 3, which works. So we know that for question 13 is choice A, because it's the value of the discriminant is less than 0, which shows that it has no real solution. So always keep the idea of the discriminant in mind. Let me highlight a different color so you have it. Discriminant right here. Okay. Question 14. A laundry service is buying detergent and fabric softener from its supplier. The supplier will deliver no more than 300 pounds in a shipment. No more gives you the signal that it's less than or equal to, because that's the highest they could go up to. No more than 300 pounds in a shipment. Each container of detergent weighs 7.35 pounds, and each container of fabric softener weighs 6.2 pounds. The service wants to buy at least twice as many containers of detergent as containers of fabric softener. Let D represent the number of containers of detergent, and let S represent the number of containers of fabric softener, where D and S are non-negative numbers or integers. Which of the following system of inequalities best represents this situation? So yeah, so for this one, since it's no more than, it has to be less than or equal to. And since we know the detergent is represented by D, we know it's 7.35 D plus 6.2 S, which is the softener. Has to be no more than 300, which is less than or equal to. So we have to see which one works, and so C and D are out because it doesn't match with the equation of the expression that we inequality that we have that we wrote. And now since it's the service wants to buy Since the service wants to buy at least twice as many containers of detergent as containers of fabric softener, that means that it has to be greater than or equal to 2s, because it's because the service wants to buy at least twice as many as containers of detergent as containers of fabric softener. So the detergent has to be more. So we know B is wrong because it does not match with the inequality that we just wrote based off the question that with the problem that they gave us. So our answer is choice A for 14. So just basically just write the inequality by yourself and make sure it matches with the criteria that they're giving and what they're the variables that they're defining, and then just match it with the choices that they give. So that's how you do 14, choice A. Now question 15. Which of the following is equivalent to a plus b over 2 squared? So if it's a plus b squared, the tip to remember is it's always in the a squared plus 2ab plus b squared form. Always in this form. Remember this because it always shows up on the SAT. It always shows up in the a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So you're saving time but not factoring everything out. So now let's look at this one. Look at the question that they gave us. Oops. A plus b over 2 squared. We know it's a squared because it matches with this. 2 times a, and what's the value of b? B over 2 plus what's b squared? B over 2 squared. So we know it's a squared plus 2 times a times b over 2. The 2's cancel out, so you're just left with a and b, plus b over 2 squared, which is if you just distribute the square on both sides, on the numerator and denominator, you get b squared over 2 squared, which is just 4. And let's see if it matches to any of the choices. Not A, not B, not C, choice D. So we know question 15 is choice D. Just always remember this expanded form so you don't have to waste time factoring. You already know it's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And make sure to not get confused if they give something like this, because they want you to say it's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared instead of actually saying that b is b over 2. So then just make sure to do that, and then you're good for this question. So question 15 is D. And yes, so I forgot to tell you that as you start off from the test, it's the easiest question, and then it gets harder as the questions go on. So 1's the easiest, and 15 is the hardest in with difficulty. So you have to keep that in mind. Now let's go to the written responses. Question 16. So now it restarts to being easy again, and then it all the way advances to the hardest on question 20. So question 16. If a raised to the b over 4 is 16 for positive integers a and b, what is one possible value for b? So the best way I would do this is to make it to determine a value of a. So let's say value of a is 2, because 2 raised to something would give you 16. So let's just do a. Let's just do 2 for a. So we know it's 2 raised to the b over 4 is equal to 16. What raised 2 raised to what power gives you 16? So we can keep this into the same basis. You get 2 over 4. 2 raised to the b over 4 is equal to 2 raised to the 4th, because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 4 2s, you get 4 and 4, which is 16. So we get 2 to the 4. So now, since the bases are the same, we can just compare these two parts. You get b over 4 is equal to 4. To solve for b, which is multiplied by 4. So b is left with 16. So that is one possible value for b. So that's how you do question 16. You just basically pick a value and just solve for b. And on the 16, you just make it into the same base on the left side. Let's try a different type of base for a. So let's say a is 4. B over 4 is equal to 16. 4 raised to what power it gives you 16? We know it's 4 raised to 4 root. And b over 4 is equal to 4 squared. Since the bases are the same, we can compare the exponents. So then, b over 4 is equal to 2, and multiply by 4, you get b is equal to 8, which is another viable answer choice. So b is equal to 8 works, and b is equal to 16 also works for 16. Next question. 17. What value of t is the solution of the equation above? So they basically gave us 2/3t is equal to 5/2. To get t by itself, you just multiply by the reciprocal. The t gets left by itself. 3/2. 5 times 3 is 15, and then 2 times 2 is 4, and that is our t. That was a simple and easy problem that they just gave us. So you should make sure to not make any silly mistakes because you want to get those points. Question 18. In the figure above, BD, segment BD is right here, is parallel to AE right here. What is the length of CE? So we can split these triangles to get 6 and 8, and we can split it into the bigger triangle to get 18 and 8 plus whatever number. Since we know the factor from if we compare the ratios, we just multiply by 3. We multiply segment BD by 3 to get segment AE. So if we do it for this side, we can also do it for this side and this side. So we know 8 times 3 is 24. So we know this entire thing is 24. So which means 24 minus 8 is 16. So this has to be 16. But they're not looking for that. They're looking for the length of CE. Since we split it into a smaller triangle, we know it's 6, 8, and it's a right triangle. So this has to be, this is a right triangle. So it's a 6, 8, 10 triangle. Make sure you know that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 5, 12, 13 are all right triangle trios or common right triangle numbers that they trios that they would give you, the Pythagorean triplets. These are Pythagorean triplets. So you'll make sure to know these. So we know it's 6, 8, 10. Since we know this is 10, we would just multiply this by 3 to get the entire length of CE, because this is just the ratio of 3. So 10 times 3 is 30, which is the length of CE. If they were asking for DE instead, since we know this is 30 and this is 10, if they were asking for DE, then it would be 30 minus 10, which would give you 20. So the length of DE would be 20, and then the length of CD would be 10, which would give you a total of 30, which is what they're looking for, length of CE. The length of CE is 30. Good. That's question 18. Question 19. So this was a very confusing problem, but I'll show you a way to solve this problem. For question 19, how many liters of a 25% saline solution must be added to 3 liters of a 10% saline solution to obtain a 15% saline solution? So since we know it's in percentage form, we have to convert it into decimals. So they're asking how many liters of 25% saline solution, right? So it would be 0.25 because that's the decimal conversion. And then X could be liters. Plus added to 3 liters of 10% saline solution. So 0.10 times 3, which is the liters, is equal to the obtain a 15%, which is 0.15. And then it would be a total number of liters, which would be X plus 3, because it's X liters plus 3 liters to get a total of X plus 3 liters. So we can combine like terms, and so we get 20.25X plus 0.10 times 3 is just 0.3 is equal to, distribute the 0.15, so you get 0.15X plus 0.45 liters. And then you combine like terms, you minus the 0.15x, and subtract the 0.3. Oh, oops. So you're left with 0.15 is equal to 0.10x. Now if we divide by 0.10, you're left with X is equal to 15 divided by 10, because you can just get rid of the 0 and the points. You get 15 over 10, which is 1.5 or 3/2 liters. Both answer choices work for question 19, 3/2 or 1.5. Last question. Points A and B lie on a circle with radius 1. So let's draw the radius. The circle. Radius 1. So the center. Boop. 1, 1. And points A, right, can be here. and it has an arc AB has length of pi over 3. What fraction of the circumference, this area of the formula of the circumference is 2 pi r of the circle is the length of arc AB. So you have to find the fraction, so it would be arc length over the total circumference, and that's the fraction that we're looking for. So the circumference is basically 2 times pi times the radius, which is 1, which is, so the circumference is just 2 pi. And they're looking for the fraction, so it would be length of arc AB over circumference to be pi over 3 over 2 pi. Pi over 3 is divided by 2 pi over 1, which can be written as 2 pi over 3 times 1 over 2 pi. The pi's cancel out, and then you're left with 1 over 3 times 2, which is just 6. And that is our answer. 1/6 works for this question. So we're done with question 20. And basically for this, the tip I have for 20 is just basically draw the circle, draw the diagram and label, and make sure what they're asking for. Don't confuse circumference and area. Area formula, the area is pi r squared. The formula for the circumference is 2 pi r. So make sure to understand what they're asking for, and then just they break it down step by step, and you'll get the correct answer. Just take your time. And for question 19, the tip would be the same thing. Basically, if there's a percentage, make sure to convert, and make sure to take your time, because you could easily make a mistake and say that 0.15 times 3 is just 4.5 or 1.5, or you can make a mathematical mistake that could just basically throw your whole answer off, but you have the right idea. So make sure you have the right idea, and just make sure to take your time with your math. For 20, once again, just basically draw the diagram. Drawing the diagram is very important. Draw the diagram. And so so basically that's it. We're done for today. I hope you found great value in the webinar. And if you have any other further questions, you can reach out to Embrace Tutoring, and make sure to check out the TikTok videos that I make. And I'll see you in the next webinar.
Okay, so thanks for watching, and please remember to contact us at info@embracetutoring.com to set up any personalized private tutoring sessions you would like. Stay tuned for future videos, and best of luck with your studies. We definitely encourage you to visit our Instagram as well as TikTok pages if you have any questions along the way. Take care, guys. Best of luck with your studies.